He was in the top 5 in terms of timing and scoring. Anders, you're looking at the replay.
And that's a very easy thing to do. You're coming out of 11-12. The car is loaded completely to the right-hand side of the car. Then you take the load off it and shift that load to the left-hand side. And at the same time, you hit the brakes. And then you just lift the right front off the ground.
All right, what happened to Willpower in that first series of corners?
Oh.
Hey, that looked like it just happened.
Oh, yeah.
Rear wing.
And by himself, just trying to get back on the power. We saw that.
This should tell us.
Yeah. Do they touch? No.
No.
I mean, give Willpower credit. He did not want to rub against Robert Wickens.
And Charlie Kimball is off. He is stalled. That is in turn 13 and 14. Kimball driving for the new Carlin racing team in the series.
Stalled out.
And there you see where he is on the track. This is the best look at it that we have been able to capture. Coming off there, that's the exit of 3, and boy, that just didn't
turn.
Hard
hit, hard hit.
Ooh.
Do you think he might touch on the right
He
side?
could have caught it and shot it across the track, absolutely, possibly.
Well, look at the.
So Dixon. Whoa, 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 whoa.
He just couldn't slow down.
Yeah, on the paint, and a veteran making that mistake. We also saw earlier in the race with Graham Rahal doing the same.
But let's explain that.
Yeah.
That paint
right
is
there.
like being on ice. You just can't stop. So he thought he was going to slow down. He didn't bump him.
No,
he ran him over.
And you just rarely see a mistake like that. Yeah.
Here, try this one. Here, watch off to the right here.
Oh,
Yeah,
he
you
hit
see the
curb.
back ends coming around.
Oh no, there was a
tires down.
tires.
Tire's gone.
Got no
down.
tire.
Yeah.
He was coming back into the pits with a flat right tire, and he got a little bit too quick, and he just lost it. See where he hit the wall right at the end?
Yeah.
Wow.
He actually wasn't going that hard when he hit, luckily.
I'm sure that doesn't make him feel any better.
No.
Yeah.
Stay right with Wickens. Here they come as the pace car heads to pit road. Green flag, 2 laps to go. Bus is close enough. Looking, turn 1. He's flat, there's contact. He spins. Mornay goes through. Sebastian Mornay is leading with Graham Rahal behind him. Inside of Rossi. And Wickens sits stalled in turn 1. Unbelievable. Yellow for Wickens' car. Oh, man.
As you saw, there is a car in the wall, and it is the 21-year-old rookie Pietro Fittipaldi, grandson of Formula One world champion, kart champion, and Indy 500 winner Emerson. This is his first IndyCar Series race, first oval race in an IndyCar, and had qualified well and was running really well. What went wrong, guys?
Already high in the corner, way high in the middle of 3 and 4, and you can see there's probably a ton of tire dust and desert dust up high off the line.
Not a huge contact, but team radio came on
Down the banking, but this is brutal. He'll go several laps down.
Let's have a look what happened to the teenager. Watch that rear left. He said, no, no, no. It's not on.
Well, that was really no fault of his own. The nut was obviously not on the car. Somebody must have told him to go, but the guy in the back was saying, no, no, don't go.
I wonder what went wrong.
Pretty uncharacteristic of him. Last year he was so smooth and clean and never really put a foot wrong all year. And wait to see the replay here. He's way up high. He just missed his entry and was way up in the gray. And
well, we don't know.
He was a passenger.
That was Spencer Pigot 2 laps down, and we were told that Newgarden and Tim Cindric were asking for blue flags. So I wonder, there's more to the story, I think, guys. When a guy that's running second that hasn't made a mistake all night is behind a car 2 laps down, and this is really the issue. All these little marbles you see everywhere, that build up offline, and if you're slightly off trying to get by a slower car, the results can be very costly.
For a while after he won the 500, there was no guarantee that he was going to even stay in the Verizon IndyCar Series.
And there was that moment. I don't remember what was the latter part of the season that something had happened, and he just said, "This is where I want to be," or "This is where my future is." And I don't know if it was the fact that he couldn't find anything else the latter part of the season, and we never really found out exactly what it was. But he said, "This is where I'm going to be." I don't think he ever used the word "want to be."
Learning Long Beach, that wall is all too easy to hit.
But you say learning Long Beach. We've seen a lot of veterans get bitten by a tornado over the years.
Absolutely, and I'm watching the replay here of Jordan King, and you can see he's already crossed up on the way in, misses the apex by 10, 12 feet here, but it's all because he lost it on the way into the corner, and it's so difficult because you're transitioning from that turn 7 left-hander and then moving over to the left-hand side of the track to set up for the right-hander in turn 8, and it's so easy to overdrive the car a little bit. And luckily for him, looks like he's uninjured and only the left front of that car damaged.
He's definitely going to lose a lap. He's going to have to go on the hook, because we see the replay. Graham Rahal coming down the outside. He didn't lock it up at all. He just drove it right into the back, and he bent the suspension. I see the suspension's bent, and then it got hit on the wall as well.
And Ryan Hunter-Ray in the yellow and red car taking avoidable and evasive action, I should say. This is real time. Look to the left.
Hard hit. Chrome horn and a hard hit right on the nose. Watch the nose of the car here.
Okay, one inside, one inside.
And I can't emphasize.
You're clear, +1.
On board with Rossi looking out the back. I can't emphasize enough the difference in downforce this year. We showed it right with the track map. They're braking 50 to 100 feet earlier this year.
So
the AMR safety team doing a good job cleaning up Zach DeMello's car, Clayman DeMello's car.
And the irony of being Bourdais' teammate.
Yeah.
Causing the yellow and putting Bourdais back. It just gets wide there, and it's a heavy and
broken. So he got hit by somebody.
Who is it?
Jordan King. King went in. The guy who came in to get his brakes fixed.
And how many times have we seen that at Long Beach, guys? An inexperienced driver passing a car. King was passing Hinchcliffe and didn't intend to hit Bourdais, but that happens all the time in the hairpin.
That was very much the style of the passing you see in F2, formerly GP2, where Jordan King has come from. That was a little overly optimistic. I know we've said it before, but I love this nose.
I'm struggling to understand what's going on here. Usually you'll see the drivers adapt to the difficult conditions a little bit quicker, but here it's like they're all going out on the red tires and trying to push as hard as they possibly can and just completely underestimating how little grip there is. And in the case of Rene Binder, just a bit of a wiggle, similar, exact same spot actually as Alexander Rossi, where he looped it in.
For these guys to try and qualify, so.
What happened to Tony Kanaan as Supertex AJ Foyt was watching on?
Exiting
pit lane.
Cold tires, leaving the pits. Gets on it and loses it out of the pit lane. Luckily, no parts on track, no suspension damage. You don't need the wrecker. They just need to get him started, Townsend. The clock's ticking. We're down to 2 minutes and 40 seconds.
Tie rods are broken, so he's going to be coming in, and we're getting ready to see a replay of exactly what happened here.
Turn 16, final corner. Not sure if he had help from behind or if he just lost it on the throttle, but pretty big fence or wall Armco impact to the front end of that Carlin car of Charlie Kimball.
Boys up front. Joseph Newgarden, who has led every lap so far, gets loose, really loose.
That puddle, there's a puddle on the exit. He got sideways. Whoa!
There goes Power. Willpower slams the wall.
Another bad race for Willpower. That's 3 races this year. He's run into trouble. Hopefully we can get an inboard on that, but it looks like he just lost it all on his own, unless he got hit from behind. I don't
Indy Lights stepping up and getting involved. And Jonathan Birds, Restaurant and Hospitality Group, and a big hit for James Davison. Yellow on the course. Exit of turn number 2 for James Davison.
We have a yellow flag. Yellow flag. Indicates it's already got a car on the backstretch. It's got a little bit of a problem. In fact, that's Robert Wickens is apparently tagging on. There it is right there. It seemed to, something must have happened. He came out of turn 2. Seemed to move to the left just a touch, and then boom, right straight into the wall.
Of the race, we're on board his helmet camera as he climbs out of the RLL car. Here's a look at what happened, and Davison going so much slowly.
Oh, he just backed up
straight.
I think he must have had some kind of a problem. I mean, the speed differential there was just colossal, and Takuma didn't have anywhere to go.
You just can't get out of the throttle if you're Takuma Sato. If he was to get out of the throttle, hit the brakes, he would just spin and crash by himself. But James Davison's kind of in no man's land there, and he's just going so slowly on the high line.
He should have been a bit. If he should have got up a little bit higher. And Takuma at that point, he can't pin it down. You see him turn there, he just understeers straight into him. Absolute passenger there.
Disaster.
Feel sorry for him.
For Takuma Sato, and it looked like Marco Andretti had a very close brush and came very, very closely to being.
So Jones out of his car, walked away toward the top of the screen. Wow.
Oh, that's just loose. It's gone by the middle of the turn. He's not around anybody. When the back end comes around like that, it's called oversteer. So we're not sure if something broke or if the car was just loose going in to create that oversteer. But now on board, let's ride along and listen.
Wow.
I'm starting to wonder, guys, if maybe something didn't break there because it was just a very quick little movement in the car. Either that or a very loose race car, and that's when the back end wants to come around, like I mentioned. And you become the passenger, Eddie, at that point in time and very early in the race. Very disappointing.
He was at a lot of dirty air and very low on the track when that happened.
Over there in turn number 2, let's give her a round of applause in the area.
Top right.
Very similar to Ed Jones. In the middle of the turn, the back end starts to come around. I thought that she was dealing with a car that was very neutral, too positive on the front. When we watched her earlier in the race, that means it's very difficult to turn into the turn because the back end wants to swap ends. Not sure if that's the case there, but looks very similar, as you mentioned, Eddie, to Ed Jones.
They're coming.
So this the 4th caution of the race.
Wow, these cars are so difficult to control when they're on the limit. When you're behind somebody, you get caught up in dirty air and you have a little bit too much steering in. He just had a tank slapper, whereas the last years you'd have had 800 to 1,000 pounds more downforce to help you. Look at that. He just barely got sideways and then lost control. This is all happening at 220 miles an hour.
The cars being so safe today. You see that white barrier that we have in front of the concrete wall? The safer barrier that we see on the upside there. Watch the steering wheel right now.
Almost
he corrects
got it.
I almost got it. It comes back the other way. I've lived that. Then it starts to go into what you call, Eddie, as you mentioned, a tank slapper. Now you're along for the ride.
And you want it to go
into
backwards.
That safer barrier that's put there. Designed by the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Steel and foam energy reduction really helps soften the blow to cars hitting the wall.
So thinking forward as to what they're going to use.
All right, look
for the yellow car. Wow. Same thing. That's the same thing we've been seeing all day.
Ryan Hunter-Reay directly behind him, and Alexander Rossi made some brilliant moves not to get collected in that accident. Back end's light, it comes around, you cannot control that. Let's ride along now and listen.
Just lost grip.
Oh, so difficult as a driver because you know you're backwards and you're about ready to hit something. You just sit and wait.
As the young driver from Nazareth, Pennsylvania found the wall.
Same thing that happened to everybody else. Lost grip.
Back end started to come around. Got loose. He caught it halfway through the turn.
But when he hit the wall, it just ripped that right rear tire off the car. And after that,
once you hit the wall, everything starts coming off.
I tell you, that's turn 11, I believe, unless I'm mistaken, and that's exactly where James Hinchcliffe got taken out a couple of years ago by a piece of debris, or a piece of asphalt, rather, that he went over and slammed him into the wall. So 11, I want to say. So, yeah, clearly, or turn 6, rather. Man, that was a big impact for
Jordan King, extremely fortunate that no one was running behind him, because after that impact with the left side, once that suspension broke, he shot directly.
So much for that veteran thing, right?
Yeah, that kind of went a bit wrong. I guess he was probably, here we go, yeah.
Moving on, back in comes around.
Yeah, he locked the outside front as he turned in.
High-speed section. He's out of the turn. Over the bumps. Oh, the tire caved on the left rear. Did you see that? That was very interesting.
Did getting that right front so far up on the curbing just kick the car like that?
Yeah, I think his right front tire. Oh, he clipped the curb on the inside.
Wow. Side.
Well, Ferrucci was in the middle, sort of defending his line. Maybe his car wasn't so bad.
That's no excuse to hit somebody.
Wow. Wow, I'm not saying he hit him, just his timing.
Yeah, I doubt we're going to see them go back to green here. He's pretty buried there in, is that, yeah, that is turn 11, and just carries a bit too much speed, understeers straight into the wall. Very, very easy to do. And the moment you get onto that rubber on the wet track.
So Spencer Pigot with a turnaround here off of turn number 5.
Yeah, now we didn't see enough early in that photo whether or not he actually got tagged from behind.
To Santino Ferrucci exiting the pits.
Whoa. Very lucky, Eddie, as you mentioned, that he didn't get collected.
Gabby Chavez was the car coming out.
Texas, speed, drafting, wheel to wheel.
Trevor Bourdais!
And he didn't hit anything.
No, and he didn't get hit too. Wow.
I went to the inside. I mean, my opinion, I was very much beside him, and he just turned in on me. But it just sucks. We have such a good car, and when you're racing people that aren't even for position and you get out of the race, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I need to look at.
What's tough, Paul? You go to the outside of Willpower like Wickens does, and there comes Kanan to the outside.
Oh,
somebody's on fire.
On fire. Matthias laced. But I'll tell you what I've just noticed. Oh, big fire here. He's jumping out fast.
That's a fuel line.
Get out, get out, get out. As soon as cars get side by side, there's a huge hole in it. See how fast Tony Kanaan sucked up on those cars?
Not as fast as his teammate just got out of the car. Thank goodness he was able to wiggle his way out. Sometimes a little more difficult. That thing's going to be bye-bye.
No safety car there yet, which is rare. So that car is literally going to burn to the ground.
This is the Brazilian rookie who says he's learning as fast as he can, and having a teammate like Tony
James.
Look at this, just completely off the track. Tries to save it, goes over the escape road and jumps. And then looks like he's going to be able to hang on to it, but then the car rotates and into the tire barriers. But that was a wild ride, and be interesting to see if we can get another view of that at different vantage point to see what put him offline. But that's a vicious hit there.
Alfonso Solis Jr. in the car this weekend for Ricardo Juncos' operation, and a pretty heavy. The 4 car, that's Mateus Laced. Anders, describe what happened.
And that's just that typical little bit of a wobble in the middle of 1 and 2, and you try and catch it, but by the time you do that, it's a bit of a pendulum effect, and the rear just swings around. So it was a great attempt to try and save it as he exited turn 2 there, Mateus Laced, but couldn't quite hang on to it. And very, very easy to happen here at Iowa Speedway.
So caution on the course, the 1-car incident involving Mateus Laced. We want to put a period on the conversation with Rob Edwards. Back to Rob Howden.
Yeah, of course, all the cars marked back here onto pit lane. Rob, one more kind of question, just to kind of set up our listeners. What is the approach to this particular session? It's kind of an interesting day. We have practice and then, of course, qualifying, and then following up with practice again. What is your set plan for the team here for this session, and is it all about just finding out the qualifying trim?
This first session is pretty much about finding qualifying trim, right? We obviously went away, looked at what happened at the test last week, came back with a few ideas, hopefully how to make the car better than it was. We'll very much focus on qualifying this first session. Obviously, then we'll go into qualifying in the middle of the day, and then in the...
It's been getting more and more aggressive, deeper into his rookie season, gets a big wiggle. At this point, Paul, when you're up into that light gray, no grip, not very hard on impact, so I wonder if they might have a look and put him back out on track.
Well, I think if he can stay in his position, he got loose right away on entry. Like you said, he's in the gray. Ooh, pretty hard hit, but it doesn't look like he's broken a toe link in the rear or anything major, so might be able to just put tires on it and run.
The view from his teammate Ryan Hunter-Ray out the rear. And Veach was trying to fight with fellow rookie Robert Wickens for that 7th position.
Strong. Look at his crossed hands, big slide, sprint car style, and Sato had really nowhere to go.
Sato straightened out Ed Carpenter. Carpenter would have spun, but Sato saved the day for Ed.
Definitely, probably a toe link broken, can't get going. Absolutely swarmed by everybody, as we see now. Ray Hall. Oh, it locks up big into the back of Chilton, and that kind of really just caused it all.
Oh, somebody went flying over the back of Ray Hall there, too.
Willpower way off the back. He just wants to get through the corner and gets there, and it's completely blocked.
Look at that. He can't even turn.
I think it was Ed Jones. Ed Jones was that other car a little further up. Look for that blue NTT data car. There it is.
There goes Graham.
Oh, Rossi. Rossi launches, so he might have a toe link as well, and he's got a front wing. It looks like it's broken again.
Ray Hall sideways in the 15.
Yeah, look at the front wing of Rossi. He hit dead square, and his teammate launched him with the rear of his car, so he's going to have damage on the rear and the front of the car.
Things have suddenly got wild in.
I think that's Tony Kanaan.
Yeah, that's Tony Kanaan.
That's the 14 of Tony Kanaan.
Well, we see Power spin in front of Pagano, who did a remarkable job of staying out from any kind of contact.
Veach avoided it.
Veach comes through. And then you see Kanaan, who slowed up. No, check that. That might have been
Harvey.
That's Harvey. Yeah, you're right. And then we see Charlie Kimball get into the back of Tony Kanaan at the crest of that.
I think what he would have done, he's gone off the track coming off of turn 11 and gone straight ahead. So, yeah, there you go. So loses it in turn 11, and then there's just no way to stop it, and into the barrier you go.
Wow.
Do you think these things are difficult?
We hear it again. Right front locks up. He tries to roll out of the brake pedal, but just like you said, Paul, too much entry speed. I was going to say, got to hand it to him. I've never seen a guy get it in a reverse that fast in Indycar.
He lost the brake, and this brought out the red flag in qualifying, which really upset Chip Ganassi, but really
500 miles. We're about to find out. 4 races to go in the championship. Somebody hit the wall. Spencer Piggott spins.
That was Graham Rahal, I think, on the outside, got into the wall. Piggott gets turned around.
I got a feeling Piggott lost it under power, and Graham was avoiding from what I saw, but it was a pretty slow start. cold day.
Big damage.
Tire spin. Got a front wing broken on Graham. Doesn't look like any suspension damage.
Remember the last race, guys, at Mid-Ohio, Alexander Rossi absolutely jumped the start, caught everybody off guard. I think everybody was way more anxious this time, did not want to get caught out, and obviously they did in a different way this time.
I'm surprised the back wing isn't broken up, but let's take a look here. Let's got Graham right behind Piggott. Oh, he just ran over the back of him and knocked him around.
Absolutely.
So he mistimed that, was going to try to get a good jump and hit the back of Piggott, but that was a really, really slow start, it looked like.
This is what it looked like from Graham Rahall's point of view.
Get ready. Get ready. Ready.
You can,
green.
You can hear the spotter was just saying, stay ready, 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 and Graham was flat gassed it.
Yeah, he was going and nobody was going yet. It was like...
And that is a product of entry of Canada's Robert Wickens.
Oh, that's going to be tight through there.
Oh,
early touch. Oh, my God.
Oh, that's Robert Wickens. And his teammate is into him as well, James Hinchcliffe. That was ugly. That was frightening.
Big impact.
That was a very scary accident.
Flying at the flag stand along the front stretch here at Portland International Raceway. And Kyle, another look here, replay, as Solis, the back end just came around on him.
Yeah, it looked like there was actually a little bit of dirt there maybe from Zach Beach's off that might have caused that. But very fortunate to only hit a Firestone board there and not deal too much damage to this race car.
Apologies to the folks at Firestone, but there's some big runoff areas here, aren't there?
There are, and we're getting lucky here because we haven't seen a big off and it's somebody getting into the wall. It's fortunate they've been spending more of the time on the pavement.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see once we get the replays if that was a similar scenario to where it was understeer or if in fact it was oversteer that caused this. There we have it. Yep, just a bunch of steering input, just drops a wheel and straight into the wall he goes. Very, very easy to do there.
So, just about halfway through this session, a visit to the tire barrier by Takuma Sato as preparations continue for Sunday's race here at Portland International Raceway.
Firestone presents legendary drives. Super speedways, short ovals, dry tracks, wet tracks, concrete or asphalt. The Indycar Series is the ultimate test for a driver. And being a driver that can adapt to anything means having a tire that can do the same.
Tire barriers, exiting turns 11 and 12. Moments later, Simon Pagenaud took a similar trip into the tires as the final few turns at PIR appear to be the tricky spot around the 12-turn 2-mile road course.
We had the pace, but it really just hasn't been meant to be.
Red flag is out. Mark Janes, back to you, buddy.
We've got a car that is buried deep into the tire barrier, and we're getting a look at it right now.
Oh, boy, that is... Ooh, and that's a big impact for Sebastian Bourdais. Just loses the rear end going across that kink. I believe that's turn 9.
Several cars take the exit. Dixon's on the outside in the back there. Nowhere to go.
Andretti went right over the top of James Hinchcliffe.
Want to see how this started, Paul?
Yeah, I think Hinchcliffe lost it in front of the field. He got loose coming out of that kink and lost it, and then everybody just piled right into the back of him. It's single lane as you come out. But look at this. Here's an in-car. We'll get a good view here.
On board Dixon.
Comes out on the power. Can't even see so much there. How does he not hit anybody?
Unbelievable. Still curious what kicked this off.
This is Hinchcliffe, and we think this is the car that went sideways that was the catalyst for
Still
it.
out there. All right, you're clear for him.
It's got Zach Veach. Veach is squeezing him.
He was all over the curb and just tried to ride the curb out. Look at Marco's car goes over the top, but he tried to ride up on that curb. Veach was ahead and had the line, and he tried to go too wide with him over the curb, and it wasn't.
Happened to Willpower.
Take a look. Oh, he's way wide. He's way off the line. He's out in the runoff area there, which is the exit row for the drag strip. Sideways, locked up now on the curbs. and he just completely overcooked it through the chicane and then couldn't stop. It looks like right here for the corners, way off the line, Townsend.
Well, once you get out there and you're offline, you're basically in hang-on mode the whole way. It looks like maybe something broke, but I don't think so. I think he was just out in the dirt, and the corner speed just exceeds the grip of the car. Here we are going for it. Listen, it'd be off throttle the whole time. Trying to downshift anything to keep it on the island, as they say, but just too little too late.
So the two crashes that we saw, this is at speed here. He just got way wide out into that runoff little section there and got sideways and then couldn't get it loaded up for that corner. You got to remember, that's about 130 miles an hour in that section.